All right, so let me tell you a story. There's this guy, Gabriel. He's an angel, and he lives in heaven. He's a cool guy. He's a trumpet player like me. He lives in heaven, but he has a job, and he ends up going to Earth and telling people about their destiny a lot. So, he's on the road a lot. So one day he is talking to Mary, a young woman, Mary, and he says, "Well, good news. You are going to be the mother of the Son of God, and I've got some details for you." But she cuts him off. She says, "Whatever, I'm in. I'm good. Let's do this." Gabriel's like, "Well, I mean, it's a pretty big deal. Do you want to see the paperwork?" Nope. Let's go. I'm in. Mary is full of faith. She is just all in and exuberant, and doesn't give any resistance at all to a pretty big deal. Mary reminds me of, she's probably 15 or 16. She reminds me of a 15 or 16 or hopefully 19-year-old at a rave. Somebody goes up to you at the rave. It's like, "Hey, do you want some more?" And you're like, "Nope, you already had me at more. Just give it to me. I don't even care what it is." That's Mary. She's just, "Let's go." Gabriel goes, when we're talking about a spiritual transformation, a part of us is Mary, right? In the psychedelic renaissance, we talk a lot about being responsible and everything's for therapy and this is medicine, and those things are completely true. But I'll be honest with you, when you're about to take psychedelics, there is a part of you that is just in party mode and is exuberant about taking the medicine. And I think we might as well be honest about that, because there's nothing wrong with having a little bit of that Mary energy in our space when we're talking about taking psychedelics or other spiritual kinds of tools. Anyway, Gabriel talks to Joseph, who's going to be the father of Jesus. And it's like, "Okay, Joseph, your wife Mary is going to give birth to the Son of God." And Joseph's like, "So if she's giving birth to the Son of God, what's that make me?" He's looking through the paperwork. He goes, "And here on page 5 in the footnotes, it mentions something about divine impregnation. Could you expand on that, please? I need some more information." Joseph is older and he's more conservative than Mary. He doesn't just jump in without reading the paperwork. He is wise. You could say he lacks faith or whatever, but wanting the details is perfectly reasonable. When we're going into a spiritual kind of transformation or psychological kinds of transformation, you should do your research and you should read the footnotes on page 5, because as wonderful as psychedelics are, and as healing as they can be, and as exciting as they can be, they can also be difficult, and they involve a little bit of risk. And it is okay to have to be nervous and to be resistant. It's perfectly natural. So anyway, Joseph decides to participate. Mary is divinely pregnated somehow. We skipped that part. And then she is going to give birth, right? And they've got this great plan. They're going to go to the inn. They've already they don't exactly have a reservation apparently. So, but they know where they're going, and it's an appropriate place for their time. Apparently you go to a hotel to have a baby. Okay, anyway, so they go there, but they're full. There's no vacancy, and they're fucked because she is already in labor, and as much as she tries to stop it, she can't. So they get creative, and they go to a barn and they're hanging out with like the animals, giving birth. It doesn't exactly smell good, right? And the cow's like, look, this time the smell is not my fault. You're the one giving birth where we usually eat. Anyway, but it works out just fine. It's safe, it's warm, it's, soft and stuff in the hay. And this is set and setting, where you're going to be. Well, specifically it's setting. Where is this amazing miracle going to happen? Well, I just spent like a week making this, making my studio here, and my little like psychedelic studio here. And I put a lot of energy into it. And when you take psychedelics, on one hand, thinking a lot about your setting is important, but at the same time, just as they did, you adapt and you use creativity. Something that I have a real problem with is the idea that there's only like one or two boxes that are appropriate for taking spiritual medicine, because it's not true. Be mindful, be creative, be safe, go hang out with the cows and the chickens and the goats. I like to think maybe there was capybaras there, but apparently that was unlikely. In any case, that's setting. The next part is interesting. So Jesus is born as this great, miracle. And there's like a star, and the shepherds and the magi see this star, and they're like, oh, well, the Son of God just showed up. That's fucking cool. And so they decide, the story's actually more complicated than that, but I won't give you the details. They decide that they want to go give gifts to the Son of God. I guess it seems reasonable. So they follow the star, they go and find Mary, Joseph, and Jesus. And poor Mary is like, oh, I just really, really want to take a nap. But she's very polite. So she's like at a wedding, she's like shaking hands, and there's this line of people giving her gifts. And the Magi shows up, he's like, number 23, come give your gift. Okay. Frankincense. Thank you so much. It smells just like church. Thank you. Next person. One of the Magi again. Myrrh. I love myrrh. Joseph likes myrrh. What the fuck? It's okay. Thank you for the myrrh. The funniest one, though, is the drummer boy. Because playing a drum solo for a baby seems not intuitive. And I like to think of like their friends, they're oh, Mary just had the Son of God. We need to show up and give gifts, okay, Harold? And Harold's like, oh, we'll go to Target on the way, no problem. No, Target's closed, it's Christmas. Okay, well, we'll just have Timmy play drum solo, right? Don't worry, Jesus will love it, Jesus loves everything. and so Timmy goes up and gives a drum solo to baby Jesus, and baby Jesus loves it. But what I like about this part of the story is this social. When we talk about psychedelics, when we talk about spiritual transformation, when we talk about spirituality, particularly in the context of contemporary spirituality, there is this hyper focus on the individual, my experience, and it's going to make my life better. And it's going to be so healing for me. By the way, did I mention me? But what the shepherds and the magi represent is that real spiritual transformation isn't only for the individual undergoing the transformation. It is a social event, and the community around that transformation helps make it happen and helps define it and helps interpret it. The difference between somebody who's like enlightened or somebody who is tapping into a source of wisdom versus somebody who's schizophrenic and saying crazy shit has an awful lot to do with how that transformation, how that wisdom, how that knowledge ends up being affecting the people around them. Is it useful? Is it meaningful? Is it uplifting? If the answer is yes, then that's wisdom, right? That's spiritual transformation. And so spiritual transformation isn't only individual, it is embedded in a social context. The next person who finds out about Jesus, Gabriel didn't tell him. It's not Gabriel's fault. He's cool. He's a trumpet player. He's my guy. But King Herod found out about Jesus. And this is too bad because King Herod is an asshole. He hears Jesus is the king of the Jews. Baby Jesus with the cows and stuff is king of the Jews. No, fuck Jesus. I'm king of the Jews. So he orders people to go assassinate Jesus. That doesn't work. And then after he realizes that Jesus has escaped, he goes door to door murdering babies. This seems to happen in Israel. It's not the only time in the Bible where people go door to door murdering babies. Anyway, I think you know who King Herod is in our story. He's the man. He's the asshole. Selfishly, ignorantly, trying to keep you from transforming your life. The obvious example in our world is the drug war, right? Nixon and the Nixon administration, they set up the drug war knowing that they were wrong. They admitted it later on. But that's not the only example. Mystics, wise men, even scientists occasionally are oppressed because people are, they get brought down because people are intimidated by new ideas. And especially if those ideas are deep-seated kinds of spiritual transformation. The last person I want to talk about in the story is Jesus. Jesus is spiritual transformation. And the main thing about him, people always talk about how it's love and stuff. Yeah, of course, Jesus is love. But he's also mysterious. What happens after you dose? What happens when you meditate a lot? You don't know what's going to happen. It's mysterious. And it's a little bit intimidating. And that's okay. So what I'm dedicating this evening to is, the idea of Jesus, the mythology is not important to me. It used to be, but it's not anymore. But the idea of Jesus as a symbol for spiritual transformation that is both exciting and good, but also a little bit intimidating and mysterious. Right? That's the energy. So if you are following along, just think about, notice what spiritual transformation means. Or if you don't like the word spiritual, just personal transformation, growth. Look at the energy. Again, it doesn't have to be metaphysical, just when you think about the concept, what does it taste like? What does it look like? What color is it? I think I'm starting to feel those mushrooms went a little bit faster than I expected. I also think it is time for our first bowl of salvia. So I'm going to go a little smaller, that one.